Hey students, welcome to episode 27 of the Film Student Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Lazzeroni. On this week's show, I'm joined by Jeff Winograd from the Red Cohort. We talk about Jeff's time in Hanoi, his final film project, and the pain and anxiety that a director experiences between an assembly cut and a final cut. On with the show.
Yeah, I had been living back in the U.S. for about a year and a half. So this would have been September of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
September of 2016. I'd been living in Vietnam before, and I just came back because I wanted to pursue comedy. And let me tell you, Hanoi's a great place. Not one for an American comedy star.
Calling yourself a star already.
Well, that's what I wanted. That was my ambition.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, man, you got to know the pond. You got to know if you're fresh or salt water. You know what I'm saying? So I came back, and I was just, like, working a job, and it took me a long time to just sort of readjust. I had been used to culture shock. But, yeah, just, I don't know. I wasn't – because Vietnam was kind of an extension of college in the sort of, like, lack of responsibility I had.
Yeah.
And how easy it was to just make friends, whatever. And, like, here – you know, being an adult is fairly different. Anyway, I was just working for a year and a half, and I'd been taking the sketch writing classes at Second City.
Mm-hmm.
So September of 2016, it was like our show. It was like our we put on like our graduation show, and it was a good show. I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty good show.
It was a good show.
Yeah,
It was a good show.
Hey, yeah,
Pretty good show.
Compared to other ones I've seen. Très bien. But anyway, the night before one of the shows, my parents took me to dinner at Adobo, and well, this will come out at some point, Arthur. So I've actually known the Ramis family for a while. My parents have been friends with them, since we roughly moved to Glencoe, about 20 years ago. And so they invited Erica to the show and to dinner. And it was at this dinner that Erica, had mentioned, she thinks that I should apply.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, might as well. Took me about it took me about a year to get the application together. I meant to get it in for February, but I didn't until May or something. Yeah.
It takes some time. It's one of those things where you think you look at the list, you're like, oh, I can put that together. And then it does take some time to put together. Like, I had to solidly sit down. Like, I already had the film done, but I had to solidly sit down for the writing bit and spend a day and a half actually putting together all the written pieces that they needed.
The written pieces, yeah, and the video interview. Yeah. And between me being a perfectionist and me not liking to reveal who I am, it was a struggle.
Yeah.
But I eventually made it through, and I got accepted. I would just like to say, Erica stated at the get-go that she would not be on the board deciding whether or not I got in.
You got in on your own merit.
Yes,
which
exactly.
I can believe. You are a humorous gentleman.
I would prefer meritorious.
Meritorious.
Meretricious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Meretricious.
Anyway,
that's I don't know what's right in that situation, but that sounds like attrition and merit put together. Like you were the best person left to say meretricious.
Yeah, I think
the best of the rest.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll look that up after. So anyway, that's how I got in, and this whole time too, I think I was wavering, but I wanted to do sketch. I preferred doing sketch. I kind of wanted to do stand up, but I also just the thought of having to go to all those open mics and everything, and just sitting there and I'm a more extroverted person than. Not to say stand-ups aren't extroverted, but I like being surrounded by supportive people.
Yeah, and that's not the stand-up community.
Yeah, no.
it's a lot of tear each other down, like tear each other down for fun, but also tear each other down behind their back, and also tear each other down in front of their faces.
That's true. and I was even just thinking of the kind of person who might go to a lot of those open mics and this is totally based on the limited experiences I've had.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one thing I'm very good at, it is extrapolating a very specific thing that happened and applying it as a rule across all peoples. But hey, that's how I survived culture shock. Yeah, just the sort of like, a lot of the stand-ups, and not that they were necessarily good stand-ups or whatever, but they're just kind of like, they just seem like very tired and like they don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I might as well just talk into a microphone on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met up with a friend of mine that was in town. We met in D.C. She lives in Michigan now, but we got to talking about she wants to put together like a stand-up routine. She wants to try stand-up comedy, and I was like, you should try improv first. And she's like, I don't work well with people. She's like, I just need to go up and do my own thing and like have it all prepared. And she's like, I can't think on my feet. And like, I was, all right, whatever. But I think they're both.
Funeral.
I think there's merits to both.
Oh, of course.
The people that can do both are the ones who are, I think the most successful.
I mean, my issue with stand-up is a purely sociological, like interpersonal thing. I don't like people who don't like people. But I was also just, I'm not great at networking.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I said, in college and in Hanoi, it's very easy to meet people, and people are generally like very open-minded, and they have the free time or resources to just like, hey, I want to chill with a beer. I just met you 2 hours ago, but hey, this is going all right. And in the States, it's not really, people don't have the time or the money to do either of that.
This is true.
Yeah.
Just to hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, coming here, that was the goal, was to become the comedic superstar. What do you want to do? What's the long-term goal?
The long-term goal is to not have to work for my money, but barring that, the long-term goal, I would love to, you know what? It's like I say be a writer I would say be a writer / performer, but also one thing I just seem to hear again and again is I'm a very destination like driven person. Journeys are fun, whatever, and I've gotten much better at appreciating that, but like just the thought of like, oh, I did this great thing. All right, you do another thing. Like, my story doesn't just end at the climax. There is going to be this long decay and like life-altering changes. So I want to do something great. But I'd like to get through that great thing by like writing. I'd love to perform as well, but I'm a better writer.
Okay.
Did that make any sense?
Yeah. It makes some.
I want to be a writer, and I am very vain.
So, okay. And what kind of stuff are you trying to do? Is it television, movies?
I came in thinking I wanted to do movies, and in some ways I still would, but I'm focusing more on television. So television, because it's like, oh, you can actually tell more complex things via television, and they can be longer. And also, I would like to get my feet in just in a writer's room, and there's no such thing as like a writer's room for a movie.
Yeah.
And also,
unless it's like the Simpsons movie or something like that.
Exactly.
But yeah.
And also, I mean, ideally, I'd love to like be part of like a sketch. Like, what I would love most is to be part of like a sketch group that like makes it big. Like, that's where I would have have the most fun.
Which I feel like is so hard nowadays. Like, I think Key and Peele was the last super successful one.
And even then, it's not like they just rose out of, like, the two of them rose out of nothing.
Right.
They met on Mad TV. They already had,
And both of them had a pedigree coming into it of stuff they'd worked on in the past. So
yeah, they weren't little scrappy boys.
Yeah.
Working their way up from the. I shouldn't be doing a Southern voice and calling them boys. From the comedy minds of New York.
Yeah.
They had pedigree. Or there's the Baron. It's that female comedy group, but the Baron Von.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it's a female. I think they're a Canadian female comedy group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've gotten a show, but even then, that's the other thing. Having a show, people imagine that as the goal, but no, are you going to be on that show for 50 years?
Right. That's. But I think that's the case with any job. I mean, one of the things we talked about on here before, and they mentioned pretty early on in the program is that working with Lynn is not going to be job placement because there's no such thing. The jobs are all transient. They're all it's a gig based industry, and so it's nothing lasts forever. Unless you get lucky enough to end up on the next Simpsons. Or on some other ridiculously long running series, and even then people don't stick around forever unless you're the showrunner.
Here's the thing: I don't need things to last forever. I just need them to last longer than I do.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, but yeah, and but I also think that is just also coming from when we did of TV shows having such longevity. And just the maybe impression that creates on someone who wants to get into that. And I think also particularly American television tends to also series tend to run on a long time. It seems like in England they're one series, that's all we needed.
Well, and they'll do what is it?
Doctor Who is
nobody does a comedy there beyond two series because nobody wants to try and outdo Fawlty Towers.
Yeah,
everybody's two series and you're out. Get those 2 runs in, and if you don't accomplish everything you need to there, then walk away.
Yeah,
go make something different.
Yeah, even thinking about the TV pilot I'm writing and the future for it, it's it's fun. I don't want to have to feel the look at me thinking it's gonna be picked up or some bullshit. But even thinking, oh man, wouldn't want to do this for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
But then what am I going to... And you always find something to do,
sure,
maybe, or you don't, and you have to become a better person.
Well, and you can change the thing, too. You can make it so that it's not always the same thing over and over again. It can evolve. We had... this morning we had Jeff's class for episodic narrative, and we were talking about how South Park kind of realized they've evolved. They started out as just dick and fart joke humor, but then realized with a couple episodes in one season that they had a social angle and a social power, that they could say something about society as a whole and have it resonate in the satire world. And now they've turned into a satirical comedic show that has dick and fart jokes, but that's on top of a really intelligent, top level satire.
Yeah.
And so you can always make it evolve too. You could change.
I mean, I could. I don't
is.
know if I have that capability.
That's why you go do it. You learn by doing.
Yeah, but I don't want to learn what my limits are. As you can probably tell, Tony, and as you can probably tell from prior interactions, I am secretly a very scared person.
Speaking of prior interactions, so I got to produce your Term 3 film. I know what I would pitch, how I would pitch it. How would you pitch it if you were telling somebody what it actually is?
So it's a meta fever dream in which there's a writer's room that a lady enters and says, "Hey, are you guys pitching? I got this idea." And the lady sits down and says, "So it's a writer's room." And this lady comes in and says, "Hey, are you guys pitching? I got this idea." And she sits down and says, "So it's a writer's room." And this lady comes in and says, "Hey, are you guys pitching?" And then things start going off the rails. And there's a crowbar and some William Blake poetry in there too.
Because why not?
Yes,
that's what those films do.
So that's actually that inside is pretty much how I write it out when I pitched it to anyone in an email or something. Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's an interesting project because on paper it reads ever so slightly insane, but it does make sense in the grand scheme of things. When you get through the whole thing, it all buttons back up, but you do get a few layers deep, and luckily you've got the characters in there that are seeing what the audience is seeing, and literally have the character hyperventilating like as this is going on to get that you know, audience reaction, somebody they can empathize with what is going on.
Yeah, and then there's like there's the girl writer who's like, oh, okay, what the fuck is this? I'm getting,
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, and to be fair, the inspiration for that was just a bit I would do to people sometimes. If I saw two people in a room and they were like clearly writing, I would just go in and say, hey, are you guys pitching stuff? I got this idea. Okay, so two guys are writing in this room, okay?
And you have this pitch character down pat. Like, I feel like if nothing else works out in the comedy world, you would be able to at least go into like product pitching, because the Denny LeMay thing from Headphones.
Yeah, the manic infomercial pitchman is apparently what I'm good at.
You have that firmly in your wheelhouse.
Yes.
And I think when I first came on, weren't you considering casting yourself in that
I
role?
was, but I just knew I would micromanage. I would just not be calm enough on set to focus.
Well, now being on the other side of it, I think you've seen how much work it takes up, and how many people.
But even
if
I was the actor, not the director, I would still like need to, because it was my vision.
Right.
It was like, well, but it was also, I just wasn't sure I could find someone with my energy. Fortunately, that actually is surprisingly easy to find.
Yeah.
And best of all, it was a woman. So you know.
And here there are a few people that could pull that off. Like, you had options going into the casting, which was definitely cool.
That's true.
Like, I don't know that you have that all over the country. There's only a few cities where I feel like you've got the talent and the ability and the commitment on the part of the character to be able to produce something like that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I never even thought about trying to. Yeah, if like theoretically this was like the University of Kansas Film School, like what that would.
You might find somebody, but like the fact that you had multiple options here, and we're not even that deep into the Chicago community. Like,
these were just like some people I knew.
yeah. It's like friends and friends of friends, and like the immediate community, which granted is Second City and IO and Annoyance and all those.
But
so
it is also, there are a lot of like people who was saying, I feel I know I'm just copying something I heard from someone else lately, because that's what I do.
Good artists borrow, great artists steal. Go for it.
Yeah, but also a lot of mediocre artists also steal.
Yeah, they're just dumb about it. So be smart. What's the piece?
Don't fucking tell me what to do. But the like in Chicago, it is that there are a lot of talented people who like they're still coming up and they haven't broken yet.
Right.
And so they're still hungry. They still want the real. I know talking about getting free help is like talking about the cost is kind of shitty. But it's a very nice thing.
It's a legitimate. I mean, it's a legitimate consideration. So I just had Bridie on last week, Bridie Hicks, and she was talking about her budget and figuring out like what all goes into it. And it's interesting seeing how it gets divvied up. Like, so much of it is just food.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Crafty is king,
and I hold Crafty very important.
Yeah. And then after that, then you go down to equipment rentals. And after that, then you go down to the actual personnel that you're going to have on set, if you can get some, somebody that's paid DP, paid audio, that sort of thing. And then after that comes props and
logistics and location, IDK,
transportation. Yeah, like it's all that stuff gets paid for somehow.
My budget, going into this was like $600.
Yeah.
I have easily spent about 1,000.
Yeah.
And I think other people I've talked to who have done their session 3 thing, it's just like, that's just what it's going to end up costing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, if you're going to do it right and make it good, like, you're going to have to spend some money on it. Like, the days of doing stuff and, zero budget feature ideas, like, those are we're pretty well beaten out of us in this program of you're going to have to spend some money to keep a happy crew, to keep a happy set, to be able to get the stuff done that you need to get done.
And so there are 2 things I want to say on that. First of all, and it's so sad that we spend this money and all these weeks and time and effort, and my hair's receding a little bit because of the film. but then you see a vine.
I can vouch it was doing that a little bit beforehand.
Okay.
So.
Well, yes. You are such an antagonistic host, Tony.
It's only because I'm your friend and I know I could do this.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, but then you just see like a little Snapchat that's someone throwing a shoe at a flower at like a flower pot, and it's like the amount of laughs, like you're never going to get as big a laugh in your 5-minute thing as
Right.
that 5-second thing got. The second thing is I do feel like one thing that is pushed here is good is like the idea of keeping a happy crew.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't. I feel a need to be liked, and so I want my crew to like me. So obviously, I got to do everything I can to make them happy. But also, I feel like that is something that is pushed. Is like a happy crew works well,
Right. And they work well, and also then, I mean, especially in this where it is a gig economy type thing, like you need to be able to get work for the next gig. And if you have people that liked working with you last time, good chance when they need another grip, PA, DP, whatever it's going to be, they'll come back to you and ask you to do the next thing with them.
Or I was thinking the reverse as the head honcho.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you'll find the people that you like working with.
yeah, and they'll want to work for you again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so for the final, you're now up to. You've seen the rough cut?
It's between an assembly and a rough.
Between assembly and a rough. Okay.
And boy, I gotta say, rough.
But it has to go through that. Like
I don't want to talk too much about my issues with it. It just because this is going. I doubt the editor is going to listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already made it obvious that I have some problems with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just making it's you know what? I'm gonna wait to bitch until I see like the actual rough cut.
Right.
Because
and that's the thing. Whenever you're looking at an assembly cut, it is just that. It's literally just putting the pieces down where they need to go. Pacing is never going to be right, and length of clips, and sometimes even the selection of specific clips and performance is never going to be right. It's just more or less, do we have enough pieces to assemble this, straight through? Like that's the assembly cut.
Yeah.
So it's because I was talking to somebody else about this, and it was Melissa McGlindsey. She and I were talking about hers today because she's gotten up to almost assembly cut, and the guy that she's working with doesn't want to send her the assembly cut. He wants to wait until it's a little more polished, and she's like, just send me the assembly cut. And she's like, I know it's not going to be great, but you just need to know, do we have everything we need? What are the big problems? Are there things that we can start organizing, fixing? Like maybe get an ADR session or
but then the things I'm worried about have kind of been because there is one moment in my film where I think the keen observer will notice.
Get more comfortable talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to become a regular thing for you.
Oh, God. Yeah. I just feel like it's funny because it's like, oh, I have the ego to like have people spend time on this thing and burn all this money, which really I shouldn't be burning on this. But then when it comes to so I clearly have that vanity, but then I'm like, but to talk about it, I don't.
How dare I deign to talk about this?
That feels a little presumptuous on my part. But yeah, there's one moment where it's like the guy and girl like walking across, like that sort of romantic walk together, and it's like I'm not sure if I have enough for that to like pace out, and he like didn't see however I don't know. I'm just as you know a micromanager, but I also don't know what I should be micromanaging.
Sure. Yeah. and that's the difficult part of it is I have yet to have a single shoot that I've ever done where everything came out the way that I expected it to.
Yeah, and there's expecting it to, but then being okay with how it came out too.
Sure.
You know?
And but that's the thing is that I've also had quite a few instances where we've made something and something better than what I had anticipated came out in parts of it. Not even necessarily the whole thing. You know, sometimes it doesn't. It kind of, you shoot and you miss. But in other cases, like I've had like those happy accidents, those things that just happen to line up perfectly, or perfectly aligns to the piece of music that I found for it, or you know,
or that one moment that's like, wow, that lighting is fantastic.
Yeah, and those things that I was not expecting to stand out and be like, and you learn that stuff as you go through the edit process. You'll start to kind of find where you're supposed to lean on the production. So sometimes you don't have those couple pieces that you thought you wanted just the way that you wanted them, but maybe you can redirect to other stuff that worked a lot better. Yeah, that you can spend more time on, or you know, highlight even more in the overall storyline. It always surprises me watching like the cut scenes from films, and to think that you put as much time, effort, energy. This was a part of this all the way up through filming, and then you leave it on the cutting room floor. Yeah, like that's painful in my mind of saying like, I didn't, at the end of the day, we didn't need this thing that we invested sometimes days of shooting in.
And it's like, did it work or no? It's like thinking about this, the most expensive shot in my film was like, I fucking rented a Ronin gimbal for it. Why did we rent a Ronin gimbal for a single shot? You know what? You told me to do it. Anyway.
We could have used it for more stuff.
I mean, and to be fair, you suggested it, and it was I had changed the script around after you had suggested it, but we kept doing it. Whatever. But it's like, who knows if that shot, like that shot, might not even fit. Like, it just might be like, oh, that's a cool shot, but it's also like that. Ooh, that just calls it too much attention to itself as a shot in the style of the thing. Anyway,
I don't think it will. I think it's gonna fit because I mean it's on your protagonist, antagonist.
You see, here's the great thing
you're
about
an interesting
my film.
balance with that film.
Yeah.
Everybody's both characters at some point in time.
Which is, gosh darn it, isn't that just like human nature?
Everybody's a hero and a villain at some point in time.
Sometimes
in their life.
You're the Schindler, sometimes you're the Eichmann. You know.
I thought you were going to say sometimes you're the Schindler, sometimes you're the List.
That would have been better.
So all right, so we've got that one in the works. What else have you created? Like, so I know you're working on a written piece too. What's that one about?
So it's a meta fever dream now. Actually, it kind of is.
I want you to know I see a theme in your work.
I want you to know I see it too, and I'm terrified of it. But so that is. It is about a like History Channel style crew, like documentary crew, and this particular documentarian who's going out trying to like record all of these like long lost forgotten American folk tales and the things and the situations they get themselves into as they travel across these weird parts of America to hear these folktales. We also see the folktales play out, but it's like all in the imagination of the main character. So it's like a mix of 30 Rock meets Drunk History, but neither of those.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just in the like jumping between, like usually the A and B story.
If there was a crew that was following around and filming like a traveler or like who's the guy that does all the documentary? Ken Burns. Somebody were following around the production of a Ken Burns documentary, and weird things were happening as they were traveling. Is that?
Yeah, and it's also just about like the weird people they meet. And the first episode is like about the lengths that the guy Doug is willing to go and is willing to take his two crew members. What he's willing to do to like get someone to tell him like this story. For example, I don't know, holding a rabbi up to knife point so that the rabbi will convert him to Judaism because the storyteller doesn't share this story with the goy. You know, like, and I feel like that might be like that's an attention grabber. I still don't know how I'm going to top that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of mixing the one, doing an episode about the one drop rule and vampires. But I'm not African American, and that could just read really poorly.
Which is self-editing as you're producing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's really just stopping at some point and saying, okay, what are the optics of this?
Yeah. How much of the script are you through?
Oh, I've written the whole pilot. It's now just making it good.
Okay. So it's a series that you're working
I
on.
want to make a TV series. Yeah.
Okay.
And so
wait, is the rabbi thing in the pilot episode?
That's in the pilot episode.
Cool. So you have to top that maybe 12, 13 times.
So here's the thing about a lot of my ideas is that they just start out as some goofy. I just like the idea of someone going around the country like Johnny Appleseed, but instead of tossing apple seeds, he was just tossing lead into bodies of water. So that's how I got the idea for the folk hero. And then I was like, okay, how can I tell this story? And I built this whole other thing around. This is probably true for everyone's creative process. Like, I tend to start with very low stakes things and then fuck myself in a loop trying to justify their existence.
Yeah.
And then I make something that might be fantastic, but that I can't follow up on.
Yeah.
Which is one reason why I didn't want to do TV, because it's like, hey, I did this crazy thing. Okay.
I think the stuff like Rick and Morty, though, has probably proven that you can get away with just constantly reinventing it. Because that show, they've more or less admitted that their continuity is fucked. Like they can't keep that show doing the same thing, working the same way, just because of the technology and storylines. And things like
that's true. But I mean, I'm not dealing with technology. I'm dealing with everyday people. Okay,
this is true.
Yeah, everyday made up folk heroes and made up people. Every day. Yeah, but just with I don't like having it. It can be a fun challenge to have to top myself, but I don't. I'm lazy. Like, I might not.
The real problem at the end of the day.
Everybody says, "Oh, you're not lazy." No, like really, I am.
Yeah.
I just the one feeling in me stronger than laziness is like kind of a need to like impress people.
It's that people pleaser. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
So what have you gotten out of the program here? Like what's been helpful in kind of pushing you along? What were your biggest takeaways so far? Granted, you're not done just yet, but you're approaching the end.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
No pressure.
Gosh, I say I'm a lot, don't I? It's hard not to say First of all, I've realized that, life is very long and God is a joke. You know what? I already knew that. This just solidified it. I guess this has taught me, don't worry about being fucking James Joyce and, saying everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right? You're not, the concept of, the canon is stupid, and you just got to do what just do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about your legacy or any of that. And so that's just sort of a deeper psychological thing that I had been fighting with for a long time. But a more immediate thing I can think of is just learning how this is how collaboration works.
Mm-hmm.
And saying okay, yeah, I don't have to do everything on my own.
Right.
And I would say those are major things I got out of it. Besides the technical,
right.
Which I didn't know a Sony from another
Red.
Sony.
Red Canon.
Yeah, I
Anything
mean,
like
I could know the difference because they tend to have their brand names on the equipment.
Right. But you would know why you'd want to use one over another.
Yeah, exactly. I just knew the bigger the better.
Which is not always true.
Yeah.
Not always true.
But yeah, no, just learning. And then also, you know what? Learning, I'm a capable director,
Mm-hmm.
and but I'm also I don't want to think of all those things. I just want to be able to focus on writing.
Yeah.
yeah, I think things that I like kind of knew all along. It's like you always hear things that like are true, but then when you actually have to like live that truth, then you figure out, oh, okay, yeah, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to like stick to that truth. I am so vague right now. Okay, here's the soundbite for you. Networking,
Yes.
story, industry. That's what I learned.
Just for the audience at home, I was getting a finger count, and there was a fourth finger, and he couldn't complete what that one was.
I completed what that one was. That's what I got.
Ties
from
all
this.
the others together. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the rope that binds the fascies.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So if somebody else were looking to go into either this program or a film school program someplace else, what advice would you give them going into it?
Don't expect anyone, even though you're in a program, don't expect anyone to do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is this is just generally how higher education advertises itself, and maybe also how the school was, and this, the school is still figuring itself out.
Mm-hmm.
But like, people weren't sure like what to expect. People were kind of expecting like maybe a job placement or like a direct pipeline to these guys, and it's like, well, that's not how like what. So they give you a pipeline to the guy, and then you just twiddle your thumbs
Right
in front of them and drool like a baby, or like anyone who drools. I don't know. I don't do babies drool. That's beside the point. But yeah, just like you put in your own work, and the teachers will see like, oh, you are very serious about this. You're not asking for any kind of handouts, and I know that can be kind of a loaded term, and I'm not saying anything about the welfare system in the U.S. or anything like that. But just as far as handouts of like, give me this leg up on the ladder, like you have to build the ladder, and then someone will. I got a very extended metaphor that I'm thinking of about ladders. It's not working, but do your own. Like, just worry about you, and people will see that.
Yeah, which is something that I've heard from a lot of teachers too. Is like, don't overextend yourself for everyone else. Make sure you're getting what you need done and getting what you need out of it. But for me, it was a lot of like I wanted to work on other people's sets because I never had gotten that chance before.
Yeah. And when I say worry about you, like, I didn't mean like the charitable way that you were meaning it. I was meaning the hand, like, don't expect someone to give you the hookup.
Sure.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. But I think it all ties together. It's you're coming in here to help yourself. Yeah. You're coming in to take care of. Take care of number one.
And also I would say coming into this program, well, a couple more things about coming into this program. One, yeah, they're going to say this all the time, and it's a good point. Don't be precious. Like, you're not that fucking great. And I say this as someone who knows that he's not that fucking great. I just am told I'm pretty good by some people, so I have that to buoy me.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not fucking great. And also a mix of like, oh, here's a really important thing, actually. You're not too good to PA on anyone's set or anything. Having said that, do read the script before you agree to do something.
That's always helpful.
Yeah, I feel like it's someone. Oh, this person. You trust. Like, sometimes it's like you don't want to waste 2 days on a script that you're PAing or sitting around on a script that you're like. You agree to it, then you see the script, and you're like, the fuck?
I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Believe in the work that you're working on.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, even as a PA, especially here, you have the ability to go walk up to the director in the weeks beforehand and go, hey, this part doesn't work. Or here's an idea for how you could work around this problem or something like that. Like, it's everybody's on the same level. Yeah. Prior to getting on set. It's when you get on set that you kind of fall into the line of the hierarchy. So if you're in a PA role and you haven't looked at the script and you see like a glaring problem, it depends on whose set you're on as to whether or not that's something that could be addressed in the moment or not.
Exactly.
Or if you're just, yelling into the wind.
So yeah, that's what I would say to someone coming. Also, just between you and me, just make sure you can have parents that can foot your bill. That's
It doesn't hurt if you have a way of paying for it.
Without having to get a job. Because let me tell you something about poor. I don't want to.
Well, in kind of wrapping up here, if people want to try and track you down on social media, follow along, see the final product for A Pitch when it's finally done and goes up for people to see, where can they find you?
They can find me. Well, funny you should say where they can find me. I'm currently looking for a new place to be found at the end of August. So.
I didn't mean physically. I meant like online.
Okay. Well, I am looking for roommates, so if anyone out there hears this, I am good at keeping the mess to myself.
Okay.
My room will be a mess, but the living room, as spotless as you could ask for.
I'm glad my show could be Craigslist for you.
Yeah.
So
I don't trust Craigslist, so this is the next best thing.
Social media.
Where can they find me?
Where can they find you?
So at the moment, I am putting all of my energy into my Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I say all of my energy, I just haven't gotten anything else.
Yeah.
But so my Facebook is, it's not Jeff Winograd, as you would think. It's Harv Winograd. That's Jarv, as in Jackalope, Anteater, Robin, Venereal, Winograd. And that's my Facebook name. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey man, I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, and thank you for finally having me on. I've been bugging this guy since I think before I knew him about being on the podcast.
Well, I was glad to have you on.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. That was Jeff Winograd. If you were curious about meretricious, I did actually look it up, and it is someone or something that is apparently attractive but having in reality no value or integrity. I can definitely say that Jeff is not meretricious in any way, shape, or form. I'm glad we can learn this together. Thank you to Jeff, to the Harold Ramis Film School, and the Second City staff for their help. The music on this week's episode was Promises by Derek Evry. You can find more of his music at derekevry.com. This show is recorded and edited by me, Tony Lazzeroni. If you want to hear more from me and my classmates, teachers, and a few special guests, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you have questions or comments, send us an email at filmstudentpod@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Instagram at filmstudentpod. And be sure to check out some of my and my classmates' work at filmstudentpod.com. See you all next week. Class dismissed.